Hey guys, welcome back to the Betar Project. This episode we have a special guest, Luke Heka, who has an amazing story and I can't wait to share with you guys. I really asked Luke to come on because I really resonated with him and his story about growing up and being quite introverted like myself, which is something I've had to struggle with growing up and I'm still overcoming today. I wanted him to come on and share his story. He also has his own podcast, which is awesome. So I hope you guys get something out of this. If you do, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Let's get this show on the road. Mr. Heka, my man, thank you for coming on. How are you?
Hey, brother, appreciate you. Let me come on your show too, and thanks for your time as well, bro. I'm keen to get into this and share and have a chat about today as well. So thank you.
Legend. For all the people who don't really know who you are, you want to kind of get into your story, your upbringing, and where you come from?
Yeah, definitely, bro. So just a little bit of background story. What I currently do right now, recently I was a builder. I had a construction business in the Gold Coast. Recently, kind of phasing that out at the moment. Got into podcasting, content creating, and also one of the co-owners of an organisation called Men's Medicine, and we do men's mental health. So we do like men's workshops and women's workshops as well around Australia and New Zealand, and that's kind of like and I'm looking at heading into like selling on Amazon and e-commerce at the moment. So that's kind of like my career-wise. But a little bit about my background story. I grew up in a small country town named Quilpie, which is inland Queensland. It's like so small. It's probably like 50 maybe like 100 in the town or something like that. But it's a small community, and I grew up out there as a kid. I was born out there as well. Had my mother and father were working in the shearing industry, so pretty much travelled around Australia my whole childhood kind of thing. Just visiting places, traveling around at the shearing sheds, cruising, had a very free lifestyle. And then I guess if I jump from there, I was fortunate enough to go to boarding school in a place called Rockhampton up in North Queensland. And I went to a boarding school named St. Brendan's. It was a really good place. Had a lot of good memories there. Soon went from there. And then went to Gladstone. I left school, went to Brisbane. Played footy for a bit in Brisbane, got sick of that, went back to Rockhampton, started and finished my carpentry apprenticeship, got into a whole heap of trouble there at the stage, and then I went to Gladstone, worked in Gladstone for a while, just up and left one day. I was over it, came to the Gold Coast, knew nobody, and just started a construction business here, and that was 5 years ago, and yeah, it's kind of worked out for me ever since. Had a few like bumps and stuff on the way, but that's kind of like a real fast track journey of like my lifestyle and like how I got to where I am today.
Yeah.
That's a rough sketch out.
What was the transition like having all that freedom to then going to boarding school?
Now, see, this is the funny thing. I actually was at boarding school before I went to actual legit boarding school. So in a country town like that, we had a boarding school since grade 1. It was for all the kids that lived out on properties, because we'd all come into one town and everyone lived on properties that were like 2-3 hours away. And we pretty much all boarded there during the week, and then everyone went back home on the weekends. Their parents would come in and pick them up. So for me, I went to boarding school there since grade 1 pretty much. I was like, me and my brothers and sisters were there, and yeah, it was all I knew really. I was like kind of fending for myself for a long time. But yes, definitely when I went to boarding school up in Rockhampton or Yeppoon, it was a very big transition for me, because I had a lot of freedom there in the country. Going to a place like Yeppoon is a lot bigger town, and the schooling system was a lot different. There was a lot of rules, and I couldn't leave. Like, home was 1,400 k's away. So as where when I was in my hometown, Quilpie, and I was at boarding school there as a young kid, grade 6 and 7 and younger, my house was not far away, so I could kind of just run away and go home and stuff like that. So it was very different for me, that's something that I've struggled with a lot. Coming and even living in the Gold Coast is the freedom. Like, out there, you can just do anything. Like, I wouldn't say there's no rules, but there is no rules. Like, you do whatever you want. It's kind of fun, and I love it.
So it sounds like
you had very different.
Yeah, pretty awesome childhood and upbringing.
Yeah, for me it was so like, I was like fishing. I'd go swimming at the river all day. I could just light a fire. I was camping. I was just hanging out. That was kind of like, and I only went to school half of the year, pretty much all through primary school. So first half of the year was up there. We went to school, and then the last half of the year I was on the road with my mother and father, and we'd travel around to different shearing sheds all the way down through South Australia and New South Wales. So I hung out at the shearing sheds, and I would work. I had a job there. I was working quite a bit then when I was younger, and other than that, I would just hang out all day. Like, I would go fishing. I would go make cubby houses. So my lifestyle was like super chilled, super chilled. My dad wasn't that strict. He was like one of those guys. He's like, if you tell me where you're going, that's all good. And what you're doing, that's okay. But if you lie to me, you'll get a hiding place.
Yeah.
I was just very honest and open with him. And that's all he ever asked for. So yeah, that my childhood was very free. That's the only way to describe it.
Yeah. Would have been very different going to boarding school with all the rules up in Rocky. Did you try to go home?
Yeah, I tried to get kicked out. I tried to actually get kicked out. I'm actually so grateful for that school as well at the same time, because they knew I was trying to leave, and they had a lot of country kids go to that school, so they knew what we were like and how we were brought up with a lot of freedom. So they knew I was trying to everything to get kicked out. They're like, okay, you can just do whatever you want. You're not going to get kicked out. And when they started speaking like that to me and putting that across to me, I'm like, as a young man, I just folded, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to give up. These guys aren't going to let me go home. I'm like, I might as well just get settled in here because I ain't going nowhere. And after that, yeah, I really settled into that place, and I really enjoyed that school as well, because it taught me so much. I was so fortunate to be able to go to a school like that as well. Now that I look back, it was awesome, bro.
How many years were you there for?
From grade 8 to grade 12. Yep. Okay, grade 8 to grade 12, so my whole high school. It was an all-boys boarding school. We had a really good, close community there. We had a lot of footballers, like very, very good in sports, a lot of opportunities, and a lot of great people there as well. So I'm like really fortunate that I had that real good base of people around me, especially from my schooling. Otherwise, I don't know where I would have ended up. Who knows? I probably would have still been in Quilpie, really. My country is out of the sticks. So I'm just fortunate that I was able to go to a bigger town, and it opened up my eyes a lot, and I got to experience a lot more things. So yeah, just really happy about that, actually.
And you said once you finished school, you moved down to Brisbane and play footy?
Yeah, so I was fortunate enough to leave St. Brennan's. I got drafted down to go play footy for a club in Brisbane, Redcliffe, and I was playing like under 17 then, and then I think under 18s was Colts. So I went down there for a year. They put us in a house and stuff, and we started playing footy and doing pre-season and stuff like that. It was that was actually 2008, so the whole economy right then was falling to pieces. It was pretty shit. For anyone that knows what happened in 2008, the whole economic crisis bullshit. But yeah, so I went there, and it was I wasn't that good at footy, I know that much, but I was good at socialising, and I only ever played football because I liked socialising with people. So I went and played school there, played footy. I just didn't really enjoy it. Hey, kind of took the fun out of it. They were too serious for me, and I wasn't that serious about it. I was coming from there to a big town, Brisbane. I was just more interested in partying, and
you're just there for the boys.
And yeah, that was it, and it was good, but after that kind of led me on a path to nowhere, because I had nothing to fall back onto, and I didn't really have any direction. And I kind of left there and then went to Rockhampton, actually. So I was a good friend of mine, actually, one of my best mates, Mark Kavanagh. His mum helped me get an apprenticeship up in Rocky as a carpenter. So I was like, yep, done, that's me. And we went back up there, moved in, and yeah, Rocky was probably one of the hardest times of my life for me. Living up there that was probably the most fucked up time of my life. I don't know if I can swear on here, but yeah,
you can, bro. It's all good.
It was it was pretty full on. It was pretty full on as far as like life goes and lifestyle. It was I'll sum it up. Yeah, it was pretty dark old days.
You want to go into that a bit more? Like what was super
Yeah,
tough about
definitely.
it?
Yeah, I'm just like, where do I start? I'm like, oh shit, it's been a while. It's been a while since I've told this story. So for me, it was like I moved back up there, started my carpentry apprenticeship, which is all good. But I soon realised that carpentry apprenticeship I think I was getting like $280 back then, and $280 wasn't getting me far. I had $100 for rent, and then the rest was like food and car and stuff like that. So I think at the end, after my bills, I had like $70 for like, or $80 for food and shit like that. So I was like, fuck, this is not going to work. So I toughed it out for a long time, but it eventually led me into doing things like selling drugs. And I started out that career, as I would call it, selling pills at the club when I was young, like just because it was just a weekend thing, like would party and stuff like that. And that was what I did. I did that for about a year or so, and just like in that whole party scene for a bit. But then eventually it got a lot worse. And all my mates, everyone was smoking ice back then. That was like ice came to Rockhampton, and it kind of just took over. Or it did take over, as it does when it comes in towns and communities. And it got me as well. It got me, all my mates, and we were just, to be honest, everyone was just fucked out. And it was like, I wasn't working. I was trying to sell it. I was trying to smoke it. Oh man, it was nasty. Hey, it was a nasty time in my life, and nothing good come from it. Hey, nothing good come from it. It was probably, if I'm talking about depression and sadness, it's probably the most depressed and saddest I ever was. When I look back at it now, I was a confused man. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. But yeah, that just went on and on. I eventually stopped working. I just didn't even have a job. Didn't finish my apprenticeship. But yeah, I was fortunate enough. I luckily finished that and got that over the rise as well. But yeah, that was a long time. I actually got saved, man. I got saved everything was going downhill. Everything was, as these typical stories do, everything gets to a rock bottom. I kind of hit rock bottom, and I was fortunate enough to meet a woman. Saved my ass. And if it wasn't for her, I don't know where I'd be. Hey, it was my ex-partner, one of my ex-partners, and she actually just had no, like, she was like, wasn't taking no shit. So if I rocked up and I was fucked up, she's like, you can't be at my house. And so eventually I was like, she'll have to clean my act up, otherwise she's not going to let me in. She's not going to let me hang around her. So I did that, and it changed me a lot. And then I went to Gladstone. After that, and I had a job there in Gladstone roofing. It's actually a really funny story. I've actually never told anyone this, how I ended up in Gladstone. I actually legit have forgot about this bit, and I've never told anyone until today. But to cut a long story short, I ended up in Gladstone. I ended up getting a really good job there. But the way I actually got the job was, I was on the bend one weekend. It was like a fucking Sunday morning at like 10 o'clock. We were still partying from the night before, and that's how I scored the job. We're at my house where I was living at the time with one of my mates, and he had a back patio over the back, and the roof wasn't on it, and the roof sheets were there, and we were all fucked up. And we were like, one of the other guys was like, yeah, we'll put the roof sheets on. So yeah, I was like, sweet, I know how to do this. So me and my mate got up there, and one of the other guys, and I was up there throwing these roof sheets on, and the other guy was James Deacon, and he was one, like a manager in a big company in Gladstone. And he's like, hey, bro, do you want a job? I was like, doing roofs. He's like, I need a roofer. And like, I was kind of joking. Yeah. And went back and forth. And then didn't really think much of it. And then next week, he's like, oh, do you want to come to Glady and work? And I'd like, fuck, no, not really. And then kind of asked me again a couple of weeks later. And I said yes. And if it wasn't for that decision, I probably would still be in Rockhampton smoking crack. So thanks to Deco. And yeah, he actually took me in, and I lived with him for a long time, and I was so fortunate for that, because it got me away from that circle, and I cleaned up my act a lot. That, and I had the girlfriend at the time, Samara, and like those two helped me out so much through so much shit. That was kind of how I got out of Rockhampton, awesome, and out of the whole drug scene, and cleaned up my act. Hey, if it wasn't for them, I I'd be in a bad place. So that's my story of how I got out of Rockhampton. But then, from there I went from Rocket, I went to Gladstone, worked there for a while, and I really tidied my shit up, and I ended up being like a maintenance supervisor there at one of the plants in Gladstone, and it was a really good job, really good job. I worked my way up over a couple of years, and learned a lot of skills, got a lot of opportunities, and just like really, really soaked up life. But I worked hard, and that's what happened. I worked so hard, I worked myself out of a job, and I didn't like it anymore. Anyway, there's like a few years went by, and eventually got there one day, and I was like, look, you know what, fuck this, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm unhappy again, hit another unhappiness in my life. And I walked in one day, and I had a car, and I had a phone and a laptop and shit, and I just give it back to him. I said, look, brother, I'm out of here, I'm gone. And he's like, well, don't ask to come back. And I was like, look, I'm not coming back. I was quite stressed as well at the same time. Didn't know, I was confused. And yeah, from that I went to pretty much just packed my shit up. It all happened like so quickly. I went home, I brought a laptop, and I started figuring out how to start a business, how to start a construction business. I had no idea. The first thing I did was a logo, which is obviously there's so many other things to start a business, you know, like a logo. Now that I look at it, I'm like, that's probably not the first thing that I want to look at, but that was the first thing I did was make a logo. I spent all my time and energy on that. But yeah, man, I just did that, packed up my house in Gladstone, and I was fucking bailed to the Gold Coast, and yeah, started a construction business here. And I didn't know anyone. Actually, I knew my partner at that time. I had a new partner. I just started seeing her actually. And I moved in with her up here. We were seeing each other, and like I was flying up here and shit to Brisbane, and then yeah, moved in with her, and yeah, man, it was like I look back at trying to like I was like 23 then, 23. Yeah, I was like 23, and I just had no idea. Hey, yeah. I had no idea, but I was ready to have. I was having a crack, and that's the most important thing. Like, and the biggest thing I noticed about yourself as well, like you're having a crack. And all the lessons come along the way, and I would never regret it. Hey, like I look back, I'm like, I could have done this right, I could have done that right, but you know what, I could have done a lot of things right. But if you don't have a go at it, you just, you know, you'll never know if you never have a go, as I always say. And yeah, I started that construction business, and yeah, it went well. I had 5 years of it up until this year, and it served me well. I've learned many lessons along the way here, met many people along the Gold Coast. Oh man, I had so many different skills thrown at me. But yeah, that's kind of, you know, how I got to here anyway. Kind of a rough story of how I got to here. But yeah, that journey's been pretty long. Had a lot of mistakes as well along the way. But man, grateful for them all, hey. Grateful for them all.
When you were at your darkest times, did you have any thoughts of suicide at all?
Yeah, bro, definitely hard out. I was depressed as fuck. I didn't know what was going on. I was confused. I can't pick any particular day, but it was quite heavy. Like man, I know there was many days I was sitting in my freaking lounge and wigging out because I'd been up for too long. Like, and when you get to that level of staying up like for that long, man, paranoia sets in. Hey, and it's it's harsh on your mind. Like it's so heavy on your mind. It's like taking drugs all the time. It's just like you're so not clear. Like the brain's not functioning properly, and you never know it when you're in it though. Like you just think this is life, this is normal. Like you wake up, you get fucked up, and then you just fall asleep eventually, and you get up and fucking rip in again. But yeah, man, it was a pretty dark times for me there. Like if I look and I was just confused. Hey, confused and misled. And I was just trying to do too much.
Yeah.
I don't wish anything, but slowing down, just being me is so important. And I was trying to be so many people back then. I didn't know who I was. Trying to play so many different lanes and try to be a certain way for so many different types of people I was hanging around. It was, it was like now look at it now. I'm like, how the fuck did I do that? Like, why? But yeah, like the whole suicide thing. Yeah, man, I was depressed as shit when I've been really honest. One of the biggest things that I really learned from that whole time was I actually had a drug addiction. It's
Yeah.
one thing I'm like, I just liked having a good time. But then, like, as I've grown, I'm like, spoke to many people, like, if you couldn't go without substances for, a couple of days, you had a drug addiction, man. I was like, no, I just like to have a good time. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I actually did. I did. But that took me a long term. When I come to terms with a lot of that stuff as well, I was a lot more open about it. But yeah, it's all been a lesson, hey. It's all been a lesson. I'm being grateful for all these lessons that I've learned as well. Allows me to help other people in this space as well, because I know a lot of people around me struggle with addiction as well.
Yeah. Why do you think you jumped into drugs? Was it peer pressure, or you're missing that feeling of freedom that the drugs now gave you?
Man, to be honest with you, it was just it wasn't by mistake, but it was like the ice was the thing that fucks everyone.
Yeah.
I think the normal mainstream party drugs ain't too bad. They're not awesome, but back then, like I said, old talking about this, but like they used to have speed. Speed was like, and you'd have speed and it was, it's like yak, like gooey. And eventually a lot of people would be like, oh yeah, there's this smokable speed. And I used to love speed and I'd be smacking speed and eating it and cruising around. And they're like, yeah, it's smokable speed. And I'm looking at them like, no, I don't know. Like, and a lot of us weren't educated in what drugs are, what they were, what different drugs they were. I kind of had an idea. I'm like, I don't think that is. And yeah, it was just like one of those things that kind of slowly phased into our life. And I was like, next minute we're fucking smoking ice. We just, like, no one is selling speed anymore, so everyone is only selling ice. And I was like, that was all you could buy. It was ice or bloody ecstasy pills. And I was like, fuck, I'm getting ice because it's cheaper. And yeah, it was actually really weird, man. I was telling someone this about a couple of months ago, but there was a real transition in the community as well. Like, a lot of people were smoking ice and it was like really frowned upon and really dirty. And I remember going to parties and events at people's places and shit like that. And like people would be doing it in the toilets, under the house, like hidden away, like you couldn't see it. It wasn't like in the public and open. And then I remember going to a party like a couple months after, or like a little bit, yeah, it might have been like 3 months after. And it was just like, I was looking around, I was like, oh, like far out. Everyone was sitting on the couch, people playing PlayStation, and just all smoking ice on the couch. Like it was just like passing a cigarette around.
It was the norm.
And I was just like, how did we get here so quick? I was like, this is not good. And that was one of those moments where I was like, holy shit. Like, hang on to your seat. Here we go. You're on for a ride. And yeah, pretty much everyone did. Everyone, the whole, a lot of our friendship circle, a lot of guys went to rehab. People like went home to their families, and their mum and dad would have seen them and they would have been like cried out. It would have been a bit of a, like, if I was an adult and I looked back at that situation, looking at a bunch of young kids then coming from a good school and shit, looking at them, I would have been like, holy shit, what happened? Like, what happened to these kids? So, yeah, that was a lot of lessons come out of those times. That's for sure.
What effects did it have on you physically?
Oh man, fuck! I was just, man, burnt out. I hate to see what it did to my body. Hey, like internally, it yeah, I wasn't too bad because I was on. If I look back at it, I was okay. Like I wasn't awesome, but I wasn't on one of the really bad ones. I still trained and I still worked. Like I still work when I was working and I worked hard. Like I could work my ass off. So I was kind of okay. There was a few stages where I went put on weight and got fat and then I blew out. Now I can bring beans. So it wasn't too bad as far as like physical aspect. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah. What was the pivotal moment that made you want to change? Was it that girl?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was. Thinking about pivotal moments. I had a couple of those. Yeah, that was one of the biggest ones. So it was more so I can't remember who it was, man. But yeah, there's a few people around me. I just remember hitting rock bottom. Like, oh no, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, this is not good. This is not good. And yeah, and if I didn't go to Gladstone, if I didn't have the bro James, and he didn't take me in and like let me live at his house and stuff like that, I wouldn't have been where I am today. I wouldn't definitely not be where I am today. And yeah, I was just fortunate enough that he took me away from that scene, and gave me so much help and support. So, and he was an older figure in my life as well, and I got a lot of love and gratitude for him as well.
So once you left Rocky, were you all clean of drugs, or did you
Oh, hell no.
going?
Hell no. Hell no. I think I did clean myself up there for a long time. I was pretty straight and narrow. I still like to party and drink and shit like that, and here and there, but I wasn't smoking ice or anything like that. There's a long time where I didn't. And then I come to the Gold Coast, and then I was kind of swapped it out for cocaine, really. As fucked up as it was, but that went on for a few years as well. But I came to Goldie. Yeah, and there's just the whole party scene wrecked a couple of relationships for me. Although business was good, but my relationships were poor. So that was one thing I struggled with when I came to the Gold Coast, was that. And just, man, it's so different for me. I'm from the towns that I grew up in to the Gold Coast where, like, man, you can do, like, you can go do something every night if you really want. There's always someone partying, there's always something on. So I was not used to that. So I'm like a 100 or 0 or 100 guy. So I was always busy doing something. And I just got caught in that lifestyle here pretty quickly as well. But not as bad. I had my head on. I still worked and stuff like that. But it's just a different drug, just a different choice of just filling my void with something else as well. So that was hard as well.
How did you, I guess, rehab yourself and get out of the whole drug scene?
Oh man, I don't know if I wouldn't call myself in the drug scene here as well, but I just was partying too much.
Yeah.
So that is the drug scene. So for me, it was, I come to a point where I had to just get my shit together. To be honest, I had 2 partners here in the Gold Coast. Shout out to them, Ashley and Sherry. Beautiful ladies. No, I still got a really good relationship with them. So I had like 3 solid girlfriends over that time. And man, I just had to get my shit together. Hey, it was like everything was just piling on one, and it was like, it was all the same things with these women. Like they all said the same thing, all the same things that I had when I split with my last girlfriend. It was all the same thing. I had to sit there. I was like, you know what? Fuck, all these girls can't be wrong. They all can't be wrong. I said, must be me. And like, just the things that I was doing was, a lot of the bad habits and bad traits and shit that I was doing was evolved around drugs and alcohol. So I was like, look, I need to tidy my shit up. And I've been really good with that over the last few years, and I got to a point now where I don't even drink it anymore at all.
Yeah.
So it's been a long work in progress, but it's just one of those times, man. Like after one of my last relationship, I just threw my hands up, and now I was just like, you know what, I got to fix this shit up. Can't be running from my problems forever. Can't keep hiding from everything. I've got to actually grow up. Time's done. And although I had to learn a few hard lessons, it was worth it. It was worth it in the end. It's been beautiful.
So do you have good relationships now with your ex-partners?
Oh yeah, bro, 100%. I've had one of them on my podcast as well.
Oh really?
I let her come on. Yeah, I let her come on. It was one of those things. I was like, if my ex-girlfriend can come on my podcast, I can let her come on and say whatever she wants, and I can interview her without cutting any of it out. I can interview anyone.
Was that awkward or?
Yeah, it was okay though. But we've got a good relationship established anyway, and we've had a lot of tough conversations. I've cleared the air with her a lot on heaps of sections of our life when I was being a fucking idiot. And like that girlfriend, Ash, she actually manages all my money.
Oh,
She's
really?
my girlfriend from like 4, 5 years ago.
Now she's your accountant.
Yeah, she looks after my money for me. She looks after my finances. If I need to buy something, I bring her up, and she makes sure I don't spend my money. And that's it. I'm a simple man. I just like get some food and shit. Sorry, something popped up.
So
I
good.
might pop out.
That's all right.
Yeah, but I might just pop out and get something to eat. But yeah, man, I got a really good relationship, and I think it's like, man, for anyone out there that's listening and they have ex partners, it's it's really important to clear up the air there and cross off a lot of that shit because so many people don't do it. Like they've got an ex and they fucking hate each other. They hate each other, and it's like, nah. For me, I had a oh, maybe I can tell you the story. I can't tell you the story. I had a mushroom ceremony one time.
Oh, yeah.
That is like a psychedelic. It's kind of like ayahuasca, but with mushrooms, magic mushrooms. Like not like we just get magic mushrooms and like quite spiritual and very deep. But one of those that because I dive into a lot of that stuff. Like psychedelics, plant medicine, and it was man, it was one of those things that come up in my journey when I was in plant medicine, and it said to go back and not right my wrongs, but cross a lot of the bullshit off that you've done with your partners. So yeah, man, I just rung them up, cleared it all up, and like gave them closure on so many things. Cause I was out running around being a dickhead. I wasn't coming home. All those things. And I put a lot of stress on them. I disowned, like they didn't trust me, and they had every reason not to. All of those things. I just put it all on the table and just said, here you go. There it is. I'm apologetic, and I really meant it. And I said sorry, and we all got to move on and live a bright future. So it's that's one of the best things I did, bro. Was clear up the air with my partners, and we have a really good relationship.
Yeah.
Like they go to the gym just down the road. I see them all the time. I think I've seen them. I was actually going to have two of them on here at the same time.
Oh, that could have been dangerous.
I actually didn't do it. I didn't do it because I did bail. A couple of people were like, okay, don't have both of them on here at the same time. That might be a bit dangerous for you. So I was like, look, you know what? I'll just do one and I'll do another one another time. But it's yeah, man, you gotta right the wrongs in your past too. I feel like crossing some air off with people and clearing those conversations with them is so important. That's been a big part of my growth.
Talk to me about this mushroom ceremony and psychedelics. That's something that really interests me. Let's dive into that. How was the ceremony like?
Oh yeah, man, I've done a few of them. Hey, done a few. I don't know what I'm up to, man. And mushroom ceremony, so it's very deep, spiritual. It's not something to be like played around with. I get a lot of respect for the medicine. It's man, it just peels you back. Hey, it just peels you back. It takes away all your ego and just dive into your life. Really, man. If you've been running from something, it'll show up. It'll show up. And as males, we tend to hide and push things down and suppress and suppress and suppress. All that shit comes up. Well, for me and most people I've seen as well, a lot of that stuff's come up. But it's I use it as a tool now. So like a reset, I feel. Reset. I go in there and sit down and see what's actually really important. But sometimes I can get so carried away and taken away from so many different aspects of my life that I'm living now with so many opportunities, chances, and people. I mean, you get torn in 100 different parts, but like, what really matters in here. And sometimes it's hard to see that when everything else is outside of you distracting you. So it just really brings you back to basics and center in your own body and your own who you really are and what's actually important. And you usually get a little list out of it, a few things, action out of it. And I always take away the lessons from it. And it's helped my growth a lot. I know that much. My life's a lot better now because of it. It showed me a lot of things that I wasn't seeing in my life. And yeah, it's helped me so much. And I recommend it too.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it. That's where I used to be like, oh, no, man, I hate that shit. I hate psychedelics, hate acid, all that stuff. It spins me out because I just don't like losing control. But you know what? That's the thing that you actually need to do is let go of the control.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very open minded to all that stuff.
Yeah, how old are you this year?
23.
23. Yeah, man. Like I don't know, like age wise, like you might be open to it. I feel like it's, you know what? I feel like it only, like anything like that only ever finds you when you need it too.
Yeah.
So I like some people go out looking for it and searching for it deliberately. But I feel like it finds you when you need it. And
Mm.
if it comes across you and like someone's like, hey, I'm going to do this thing, this is it, you know, yeah, that's the time. I feel like it finds you at the right time of your life when you need it.
Yeah.
I don't feel like something that people need to like venture out and find it because they feel like they need to have this experience. Um, yeah, if it crosses your path and it's there and an opportunity, I feel like it's one you should take.
Mm.
Definitely.
So what's it like?
Definitely.
You just take it and then you go to like you sleep and dream or something, or
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Shit. I'm sorry. I forgot to explain that bit of it. Yeah, man. It's pretty much like everyone has their own experience. So you're in your own space. Like you lay down. It's kind of like, let's say, a yoga setting,
yeah,
spiritual setting. They have like a shaman. She's looking after you, he or she. And yeah, you lay down. You're in your own space. Like you don't want to be touching people or close to people. It's like your own experience. For me, like to explain, it's like watching your own life on TV. Um, for me, I just lie down and close my eyes,
yeah,
and it just takes you. Hey, surrender. That's all I can say. I just have to surrender to the process and what's going to show up there for me. And yeah, evidently, you never know. You never know what's going to show up. It's yeah, man, it can be very harsh at times, but at the same time, it's always what you need. Always what you need.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I just highly recommend it. Hey, it takes like you'll see all kinds of shit.
yeah.
You'll see all kinds of shit. Like you're tripping out, but in a good way. In a good way. It's not like you're just tripping out and a bunch of friends just sitting around the back table, they trying to look at each other laughing. Very spiritual and very deep. That's good.
What other psychedelics have you done besides mushrooms?
What I did ayahuasca. Ayahuasca was like similar but different in in little ways. Just a lot deeper. I feel it's a little bit more control in ayahuasca about asking what you want to see and stuff like that. Um, did Cambo, which is like a frog.
Yeah.
They put this poison on your shoulder. I did that. That was heavy. That was real heavy actually. Um, that one was like, oh man, that was like such a different thing that happened in about, and like the actual experience happens in about 20 minutes. Not like a long thing, as where mushrooms is like 4 to 6 hours kind of thing.
Oh,
It's
really?
about 4 hours. Yeah, you're usually laying down for about 4 hours, but like the whole ceremony is about 6 hours.
No.
And then ayahuasca is obviously can go longer depending on who and where. Um, but yeah, the Cambo was a heavy one. So they roll up these little things and put these little frog dots on you. They're like little poison, so she
Yeah.
burns you. Like burn the top layer of skin off, and then
Yeah.
they put like a little thing on it. Um, and yeah, it's yeah, it's just like it's really hard for me to explain it. Actually, it's kind of not something I know a great deal about Cambo. I've only ever done it once, so but yeah, it's heavy, heavy.
Did you do that
Um,
here in Australia or overseas?
I did the Cambo here in Australia.
Yeah.
It's, yeah, I feel like recently, especially in the Gold Coast, a lot of that stuff's coming here. Like quite a lot of spiritual people here. There's a lot of shamans and stuff starting to come here, especially because Byron Bay.
Yeah.
So it seems to be for me. It seems like it's kind of a hub for a lot of that. People in that industry or in that circle. So it yeah, I feel like we're lucky here on the Gold Coast to have that so close. A lot of people seem to venture that way for plant medicines, etc.
Mm. So it's really helped you to, I guess, open your eyes and heal you as well.
Yeah, it's been definitely healing. Definitely healing. Definitely opened up my mind and like my capabilities. I feel, and it's really mellowed me out in a lot of ways. Um, it's not like people think it's like a full spiritual thing. You got to go crazy, but it's actually not. Um, it's done to give you a really good insight into your own body and mind. It's like I just highly recommend it. Hey, it's one of those things I've never regretted taking it, doing it. and it just melts away the whole ego of a person, hey, and it just brings you back to there and like what's really important. And most of the times, what's really important is like in here and around you and you. It's not all these external bullshit that we buy, and it's not the cars, it's not the house, it's all the shit that we get. It's just it's all here, hey, it's all here, and that's what it's always been the message that I've got, hey.
Yeah. It's just like anyone, so many people focus on money and material stuff these days, but you can't buy happiness.
Yeah, I know, bro. Smiles, smiles are free, but you can't, free smiles, you can give them out, but putting a smile on your face, that's works for as well. Like,
Yeah.
you can't just buy that, you can't go down the shop. You can buy it temporarily, but how long does it last? You can go buy something that'll make you happy for a short period of time, but when we're in life here and this life is long, you don't want to be playing the short-term happiness game, because the short-term happiness game is a never-ending game that you will get lost in. That's where the long-term happiness game, that's one you can live.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a life worth living. That's a life worth living.
Mm.
And I always say that, what does this look like long-term? Jobs, money, finance, partners, relationships. I'm like, okay, meet someone. What's this look like long-term? Because, yeah, that is the long game, bro. That's all I play these days.
Yeah.
Just playing the long game. Hey, it's so important to be like that.
Mm.
So important to be like that.
So doing the psychedelics, did that kind of set you in the direction you are now? Or was that something else that gave you the hunch to do that?
Nah, man, it's just, I've had so many, I'm always been into personal development. I've always worked hard and stuff like that. But I guess the plant medicines got me to be more in touch with myself. That's for sure. That was a bit that I was missing. That was the bit that I was missing. As where I was ignoring it, running from it. I've always been okay with working hard. I could always work hard. I could work long hours. I could figure shit out. But the bit that I was missing from my arsenal was like thinking in with people, letting people get to know me, like being open and being able to interact with people was really hard. So whole plant medicine just taught me that, like being more open. That's it. It's all I needed from it, hey, and it was it gave me everything I needed as well. So it opened everything up for me, and now I realise like, it's such a big place, and you get one life to live, so you better enjoy it.
Yeah. How are you making the transition from construction to now what you're doing? Did you have a big team or?
Yeah, so it was for me about slowly winding things down. And, oh man, like construction was, I still love it. Construction's awesome. I love the fast-paced game. But I'm still in my 20s, I'm still 29. But look, I got so much shit I can do. I can change careers. I don't want to get to an age where I'm like, I could stay in this path and keep doing this construction industry and then get, another 5 years down the track and have a really big company or whatever, or other multiple companies in different areas of the fields. Or I can go out and give it a crack at something else. Like if I had to start another construction business tomorrow, I could get that just about up and running in about 6 months to where the other one was, I feel. So I'm like, look, done. I can take that risk. But the transition's been hard. Podcasting and doing what I'm doing now is, man, I never did this shit before. So like trying to do, like learn edits and stuff like that was the most difficult bit. But I don't know, man. I realized I knew all the right people to do what I wanted to do. Like my network's pretty good down here at the Gold Coast, and many other regions as well. I know many other people in many other towns, and I was like, look, I like talking to people. I like talking to people. It's, and then you know what? I can do this for a long time.
Yeah,
I can do this for a long time. Talk to people. So that and doing our men's work that we do. So working with young men and older men as well, and now women around Australia and New Zealand. So I've been fortunate enough to go do some of our work in all the major cities around Australia and New Zealand and hold our workshops and events. So even transitioning into that, helping people has been one of the things that's been on my top of my priority list for a long time. And yeah, I love it. Hey, I love the helping people.
Yeah.
Love helping people. But the most important thing when people don't understand, I want to, most people, common thing, love helping people.
Yeah.
They don't know how to help themselves. That's
Mm.
where a lot of people go wrong. You can't give someone something you can't give to yourself. So if you want to show people how to love themselves and take care of themselves, you actually need to set the example yourself first. And you're also quickly to give, externally and give out. But we don't know how to give to ourselves. So that's one of my biggest lessons of working with people and helping people is making sure that I'm right and I'm good. Because then the way I show up from there is better. Like if I'm showing up and I've been looking after myself, taking care of myself, show up the best version of myself with these people. And then they get to see the best version of me. And as where people will sacrifice their own self and happiness and their health and everything to help someone. And then they show up half shitty, they're worn, they're drained, they can't be the best version. So that's my biggest lesson out of that as well.
Mm. How did you get started with men's medicine?
Oh man, it's actually the first one we come out of that mushroom ceremony. We all came together.
Oh,
It was the
really?
very first one I did, yeah. So we all came together that night, and we did a mushroom ceremony, and we were all pretty much just like super just sunk in with each other. Hey, we just really dropped in, all the bullshit dropped, and like, oh, like I've been struggling, yeah. And we all kind of just really opened up about life and what was actually going on, and it really naturally grew. It was a real natural thing. It wasn't something that was like planned and structured. Like, okay, we're gonna turn this into a business and do all these things. It was just like, okay, cool. Well, we got this thing. A couple of the bros went on a walk and did this thing, and we're like, okay, we better do this. So we did it, and there's like 13 of us. We just got together and did this walk. And we had one of our guys film it, Jay, and he filmed it and he put it up on Instagram. And then next minute, we had this. It just blew up, and it blew up so much that people were like, "Oh, when are we doing this another walk? Or when are we doing this? When are we doing that?" And we're like, "Okay, I guess we're doing this." And just confusing one day. The boys like, "What are we called?" And it's like, "Are we medicine man, or are we men's medicine?" And yeah, it just took off so naturally. And yeah, from there we just started traveling around Australia and New Zealand, helping out, having our workshops and stuff, and it grew.
That's awesome. It's good to see, more little, I guess you call it businesses popping up like that, wanting to help people, especially around men's mental health, which is for a long time has had like a stigma around it. Like you can't talk, you got to be tough and shit like that. Now, men are realizing to show their emotions and have feelings,
Yeah. It's so important, and like for me, it's kind of funny for me going into scenarios and situations now where I go into different crowds, and that's not the norm. Where they're still hiding, they're still not talking about things. They're still not, I'm like, oh shit, people still like this. Guys are still like this, still living like this. So, but yeah, it is such an important thing. Like, man, we're all guys. We all struggle. We all have our shit. We've all been through stuff as well. So, like, that's what happens at a lot of our events. They get there and they're like, okay, oh shit, we're all not so different after all. We're all dealing with the same bullshit here, and it's quite hard. And they all open up and be vulnerable and just share. And it's like, okay, we're all in this together now.
Yeah.
Love it.
Where are you looking to take it?
Man, just growing it. Like at the moment, COVID's made it a little bit harder, but look, pretty much going around just doing more workshops around all of Australia and New Zealand, like just continuously growing it and just building leaders in the communities. Like we can't be in the community always. So it's like, okay, how do we go to a community and build these communities up, like build some men up in that community so then they can be that stand, they can be that person in that community that sets the standard. And that's what it's about. Like it's a domino effect, getting out and about of these communities and start building these leaders so then they can set the example, set the standards, the new standards, and get rid of that old cliche shit that, we can't open up, we can't talk, we can't be vulnerable, etc. That's how we get rid of it.
Have you thought about going back to the country, like where you come from, and doing workshops out there?
Yeah, man, it's one of the things on my list. I've been trying to go back out there. I've got a few opportunities there pending actually, and I want to go do it. But yeah, it's on my list. It is on my list to do. It's one of the things I will do actually. I've actually said it on another podcast too, so I'll go back it up now and make sure I do it. I was always going out there. Just timing at the moment's been a little hard. So I know there's to be time real soon where everything lines up and we get things cranking, and yeah, we'll be out there going to those country towns. They mean a lot to me, and I know there's males out there that need help as well, not just out here in the urban, areas.
Well, whenever you come to Sydney next, I'd love to come to one, eh?
Right, Sydney will be our first thing, our very first event. That when this shit opens up and these borders, like, we're allowed to fly and have events, it'll be the first one. Because I don't think we can do any events in Sydney at the moment.
No, I think the border's still closed, yeah.
Yeah, I think we have to go to quarantine.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we have to go to quarantine when we come back. I think we can come in. I don't know. It's been changed. I've stopped watching the news as of lately. There was a time where I was watching it every week because I'm like, yeah, we're going to get it. But look, Sydney's the first place we're going back to as far as flying goes. So, man, if they open these borders up in the next month, we could be looking at doing something down there at the end of the month as well.
For sure, man. Let me know and I'll be fucking there.
Not the end of next month. Yeah. So, man, trust me, when we are getting on to you to come with that, it's a powerful day. It is a powerful day. People are like, oh, he's just going to walk. Like, nah. It's a workshop. It's a workshop, but it's out in nature.
Yeah. So what does the workshop involve?
I won't tell you the whole logistics of it, but it's pretty much a day of how do we strip back all the bullshit and see what's really there.
Yeah.
Like, what's really there? What's really in your way in your life? What are you hiding from? What are you running from? Let's pull it out. Let's show it. Let's see it there. Let's square off with all that bullshit. And also about bringing it together and understanding, like, you're not the only one doing it. You don't have to do it alone. Enough of that. And everyone comes together, and it's like, once one goes, they all go. Like, everyone comes together and someone starts opening up, talking, and it's like, okay. This guy goes, I've been holding this in for so long. I've been doing this, and domino effect. And that's what it's about. Realizing that they got that whole, like, community around them to be able to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
It's about building the communities and building people.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I love it.
So let's jump into this podcast. What's behind the name? If you don't know, now you know?
That's in, brother. Yeah, if you don't know, now you know. So if you don't know, now you know is man, it's like, it's more so around, like, get to know someone before you judge someone.
Yeah.
It's we live in a social media world at the moment where everyone so quickly casts a judgment upon someone. Someone, you see their Instagram, that it's automatically you get to judge them and paint a picture of how you see them, how you perceive them straight away. So I like to take the stigma out of that. It's like, okay, get to know someone before you judge someone. That's why I'm like, if you don't know, well, guess what? Now you know. So it's get to know someone before you judge someone, because we're all judged people, and we've all been wrong as well. Especially myself, and we all get the opportunity to be wrong. Listen to someone else's story.
Yeah, I think it's human nature to judge a bit.
Oh yeah, 100%. Me too. I judge heaps of people, but that's just me, and that's just the nature of it. But I'm like, I get to be wrong. Met so many people. I'm like, sorry, bro, I judged you.
Yeah. Especially on social media,
evil.
when they're posting all these, fabulous pictures and that, like, you don't know the story behind them. So.
Oh no, that's exactly right. And, like, how did they get there? Like, a lot of people, that's their careers these days. Like, why would they post shit stuff? Like,
yeah,
it just doesn't make sense. Like, people don't understand it. That's the game. Like, people playing different games on there. People are using it for pleasure, which is awesome. And some people are using it as a career, and other people are using it to launch their businesses. And that's where the variance comes, and that's where a lot of judgment comes from as well. Like, what game are they playing on there?
Yeah, social media is the best thing that happened, and also the worst thing.
Yeah, it is. It's a tool. Like, it's depends on how you use it too. Like, I used to hate it. Fucking social media shit. Now, like, I'm pretty particular about what I look at on there, and it's been a really good tool for me to use to educate myself and upskill myself in so many areas. I love it.
Yeah,
on
like
it now.
it's helped me build this podcast and networking, stuff like that. Like it's awesome for that.
Yeah. Oh man, it's like you want to meet someone, like message them, hit them up.
Mm.
Hey bro, what are you doing? Like how are you? Same as you hit me up.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Like everyone's so accessible. That's why I love it. Like if I really wanted to, I could just stay here and run my podcast from inside this room.
Yeah.
That's it. Like in my garage, in my room, as where this was not possible 10 years ago.
Mm.
You would have had to have a full team, to try to do something like that, pull it off. Like we've got devices now that everything's on there and you can just do it. You can just do it on a roadcaster and a camera. That's it. Or people do it on my phone. Like,
Yeah.
man, it's like we're so fortunate.
Yeah.
So fortunate. I love it. Yeah, speaking about podcasting, actually, I've got my very first guest coming back on tomorrow. Friday.
Yeah.
So people wouldn't know this, but I tried to do a podcast before I actually did this, about 3 months before I did this. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it looked like. I tried to do it in my lounge room, and I sat down. I had a talk with one of my bros, Aleki, and it just crossed my mind then because he only confirmed it today, and I did it. No, I did it on my phone. It was so shit. Like the phone was like 3 meters away, and you couldn't hear it properly. It was like, and it was just 2 tables, just 2 chairs just sitting there. Me and the bro just had a chat, and I was like looking at it the other day. I was like, man, that was so shit. And then I went full out. I went all in, and now I'm here. So it pays to go all in as well.
Yeah.
That was me half-assing it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go all in on it. I went all in on it, and it's paid. It's paid off.
It's paying off. You got an awesome setup. You've going well.
Yeah, man, just kicking it off, and I love speaking to people. And big kudos to yourself too, bro, for just doing what you're doing, man. Putting yourself out there. You see, you weren't always so outgoing and speaking to people, and like even our conversations today, I would have never picked that up and noticed it.
Yeah.
Like it's very free flowing. You know how to ask the right questions. You know how to talk properly, and it's that's the art of the cast, as I call it, man. It's like talking is it's one of those things. Not people who don't ever get to fully master it. It's always something to learn, and podcasting's taught me that the most is your voice and what the way you articulate your words and what you say is so important, because in a game this like now, for people to just listen to the audio, voice, people on social media, they have an image, and you see that image. It's awesome, but like the way I play life, this is why the way I see it. The way I play life is people could look at me and cast your image and say all these things. You could look at someone else; they might have all the gifts, the toys, the jewelry, the accessories. But I always say, who are you in a dark room? Like when you turn out all the lights and there's no one, and you can't see someone, and you're stuck with just your voice, your energy, and who you are. Like, who are you then? And I always strive to be the best person in a dark room, because like I want to stand out in a dark room, and it comes down to being your voice, your energy, and who you are as a human being, and that's what really counts. When all the shit's off you and there's no one can see who you are, so
Bro, that's awesome. I haven't heard that theory before.
That's how I live my life, bro. Like I do it all the time. Like when I'm sitting there, I've been at dinners and shit. I'm like, close my eyes. I'm like, and I sit there and I listen. And I'm like, who's that guy? Who's that girl? Who stands out now? Like, who's that person who can draw a crowd just with their voice? Like, who can draw people to them, like just with their actual aura of who they are. And that's what people would struggle. And that's it. Like you know that now. Like when you see people, and like, okay, I bet you if I turned out the lights right now and you're here and you didn't have your looks or your accessories, there wouldn't be much. There wouldn't be much there.
Audio is the way of the future too, eh?
It is, bro. It is. It's powerful. Powerful. Using your voice is. And I've seen a lot of people from Instagram as well have like a really big Instagram following, and like transition that into an audio platform.
Yeah.
And they're confused and why some nail it, some really mess it up awesome, but I'm like, it's an image game rather than a vocal game. And they feel like like people on their Instagram follow them because they like the way they look, but they don't like the way they sound.
Yeah.
So it's different. It's different, but yeah, that's how I live my life, bro. That's how I play it. How I play this game. Who are you in a dark room? I ask that to people all the time. Like, who are you in a dark room? Like, how are you? And it's a really important thing to understand. Like,
that's awesome, man. I actually love that.
I was thinking about it now. I'm like, oh,
bro. How long did it take you to get used to hearing your own voice?
I'm okay with it, hey, because I before I started podcasting, I did a video blog for the past like 5 years.
Oh, okay.
Just to myself, though. I've never really shared it with anyone. So I was okay with it. I was like, it did take me a long time to get used to posting stories and shit like that. But now, I don't know if I ever had a struggle with my voice. I've heard it, heaps of people like, oh, I don't like the sound of my voice. I'm like, I never really even thought about it, to be honest. I was more so concerned about what I was saying rather than my voice. I was like more concentrated on how I spoke or what I said, rather than like how I sounded. But yeah, that never bothered me. Hey, never bothered me at all. So yeah, I never even thought about it really.
Yeah, it took me a bit. I was like, oh, I don't really like the way I sound, and now I just don't care.
Yeah, I don't think anything sounds wrong with your voice. It sounds normal to me. That's what I always people like, oh, my voice sounds shit. I'm like, no, it sounds so good to me. Like, that's it, isn't it? Like, that's the only voice you got, bro. You better get used to it.
Yeah. So the most awkward thing was when I'd go out and my parents are watching my podcast. I was like, oh, fuck, this is
I don't even know if my dad only just found out what podcasts were the other day. Like, I don't know if my mum listens to them. She probably does. Oh, she probably has. I know she's listened to a few. But my dad, he would know what podcasts are. I think he does know what podcasts are now, but he wouldn't know how to find them or how to listen to them as well. But maybe one day.
Yeah, my dad doesn't have a clue either. He's like, well, what is this podcast shit? You just talk to people?
Yeah, they don't understand.
Yeah, basically, that's what I do.
Have a yarn to everyone. Have a yarn. It's good though. It's the way things go, and the only way things will go actually. So I can't wait for it.
Yeah, I've loved it. As I said before, it's helped me grow so much as a person, eh?
And you learn so much. You learn so much, man. Sitting down, talking to people, and it's that's how we grow. Like everyone talks to everyone, and you grow. You learn, you get some lessons, and keep going. Yeah, that's what it's about. That's what life. That's life.
It's opened my eyes up so much too, speaking to certain guests. Like I talk to a lot of guests who do like a lot of travel and stuff around the world. And it's like opened my eyes to like, I really want to travel now, because especially when the world opens, I'm like, yep, I'm traveling for sure.
Good time to save up, bro. Good time to save up.
Exactly.
You ain't going anywhere for a little while, so you might as well save up.
Yeah, exactly. Have you done much travel yourself?
No, not much, man. Hey, not much. Actually, talking about travel, I had a lady on yesterday, Gemma, talking about, she's from Kentucky.
Yeah.
And yeah, we were talking about travel as well. So, and like sustainable travel, and like me, I think I'm going to travel a bit around Queensland a little bit more. Hey, although I've visited lots of it just by this whole COVID. I'm like, look, I'll take this opportunity to travel around Australia. I feel like it's important at the moment with the whole way the economy's been. I'm like, look, we could, if I can afford to go out and travel somewhere, I'll travel around Australia at the moment and give back to the communities and stuff around here. So I haven't been overseas. I've been to Bali in New Zealand. I've been to New Zealand quite a few times, and Bali a couple of times as well, but that's it.
Yeah.
But looking to get out to some other places as well.
Yeah, I want to go to New Zealand.
So good there, man. Got to go to Queenstown. Everyone says that, but Queenstown.
Yeah, I wanted to start at the top and make my way all the way down.
Man, that's even better. Even better. Just anywhere there's good. Anywhere there's good. Like legit, it's so friendly. So many places to see. It's and it's so crisp and nice. Hey, fresh there. It's awesome. It's green. Food's good. Mm, hungry now.
Nearly dinner time.
Yeah, nearly is dinner time actually.
Yeah.
Getting close.
I'm so keen to travel. Like, and like the guys I talk to, they're not doing your standard travel too. Like, they do crazy shit. Like the guy I'm having on tomorrow, he cycled from I think Darwin all the way to the bottom of Australia, and then sailed from Sydney to South Africa. Like they do these crazy travel shit. It's awesome.
Oh shit. Yeah, fuck that's hectic. Yeah, no, I haven't done anything like that either.
Nah,
Right?
and these other guys,
Get out there.
they walked some of the largest rivers in Africa, and I had these two of these guys actually. They're telling me they got abducted by like the military and shit, and they just talk about it like it's just another day. I was like, what the hell? You
It would
just
have
got
been heavy.
abducted, could have got killed, and they're used to it.
Yeah, they would have just got picked up. And watch out over there, bro. That'd be scary over there being picked up as well. Like who knows what's happened to disappear like that. And then you're gone. And then you're gone. Who knows where you're gonna end up.
Yeah.
Someone will pick you up really quickly. But as long as you're smart and you're not too silly about things, it's usually pretty good.
Yeah.
Gotta get done.
Where are you looking to take this podcast? You got big goals for it?
Yeah, man. So eventually I want to put it into a warehouse and have our podcast up in a warehouse and have it to the point where it makes enough money to like monetize it. So it makes enough money so I can pay full-time editors and someone to book my schedules and stuff like that. Like, oh man, I just like to sit down, bro, and just chat. Like, I don't want to do all the other stuff like everyone, but you know, at the moment, that's what I'm learning. So having that, and that's probably in the next year, have that goal, is to have it in a warehouse and then have enough money making off it to monetize it. So then that I can pay and afford to pay an editor to edit everything.
Yeah.
And do my socials and stuff like that. And that's just kind of where I'm taking it. That's short term. Long term, just keep growing it, man. Keep growing it, using it as a platform to help and educate people as well. Get some big guests on. And I feel like podcasts will have a revamp in another 2 years.
Yeah.
I feel like podcasting will, and I feel like it'll just something will change in it. I don't know. It's been around for a while, podcasting, but I feel like it's at the stage where like something else will happen. Like it'll get a little extra add to it or something. I feel like something will happen. Like there'll be like a podcasting platform, like social media kind of based something. I don't know. I feel like there'll be something different.
Yeah.
Like the podcasting world will change in a couple of years because it'll be so big. It's already so big, but it's only getting bigger.
Yeah.
It's only getting bigger.
I feel like over this whole COVID period, so many people are starting podcasts.
Oh, bro, it's massive. Everyone's got a podcast. Everyone's got a podcast. The space is growing. Space is growing. And it's good though. It's good, man. Yeah. It means we're in it at the right time.
Yeah.
Because it's you know, it's, man, there's so many people like leveling up. Time. But yeah, it's a really good industry, man. I feel like, you know, people like yourself as well, especially getting a voice and getting an opportunity to speak up and speak to people is man, that's what it's about.
How are you looking to monetize it?
Through an app called Anchor.
Okay, yeah, that's what I use.
Yeah, so through Anchor and then through, man, I've had a couple of people like sponsor me a couple of little things here and there. So man, once I get that, and hopefully I can build my Instagram up to a fair stage, that's probably that, and then monetizing things on Facebook and YouTube. So building YouTube channels up and stuff like that. Once you get over like 1,000 subscribers and shit like that, things start getting monetized. So
yeah,
it's just about building those networks up and building those and getting those going. So once that's up and running, it'll all slow. It all takes time as well. So
yeah,
I feel in the next 6 to 12 months, I'll be able to monetize on different platforms like Facebook and YouTube and then Anchor as well. So hopefully get to that level in the next 6 to 12 months and then have those three little, like even if they're making a couple $100 a week, still be enough to pay an editor to edit some podcasts and stuff for me as well. So, and then it'll just grow. That just makes me free as well. Like
Yeah.
I get to do what I love doing, which is sit down talking to people and having a chat, which, is evidently just what I want to do.
Yeah. It's all about the
And
journey. You got to enjoy it.
yeah, man, that's it. Hey, you just got to get in and get it done. I love it. Yeah, being good, man.
Mm. So what's one piece of advice you could give the listeners, especially through these rough times, eh?
Oh man, it's one I love. It's own who you are, but know who you are. And you can't, like, everyone's like, yeah, I own who I am, but I'm like, you don't even know who you really are.
Mm.
And a lot of people are lost and they don't know that they haven't actually had enough time to sit with themselves, and they've been running from their own selves, their own feelings, their own thoughts for so long that they actually don't know truly who they are and what they want in life. Until you truly know and understand who you are, then you can own who you are. That's my advice to people.
That's powerful.
Yeah, man. And it's okay to not know who you are. That's the thing I always say. Like, you don't have to get that all figured out in freaking 2 days either. That's a long process, and there's a lot of hurdles and shit, and it can change many times. But being okay with who you are is a big part of it as well. And but people aren't okay with who they are. So you can't own something if you don't know what it is.
Mm. So do you know who you are?
Oh hell yeah, bro! I know who I am.
Who are you?
I'm Luke Heka. I'm man on a mission. I'm a man on a mission. Now, like, at heart, like, I know who I am. I know that I know who I am because I'm not lost like I was.
Yeah.
And I'm very comfortable with the person I am in every aspect. Like, someone could say something to me now, and I'll be like, try to put me in a different category or put me down or anything like that. I'm like, that's not true, because I know who I am. I'm not that person that you think I am.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by that.
I was reading Tony Robbins' book and it had this quote in it. I wanted to ask you it. What would you do if you knew you could not fail?
I don't know if it sounds corny, but I'm already just giving that a crack.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, Mike, I'm doing that now. Helping people, trying to get out and help as many men and women as communities as I can, and talk to people. I think I'd do what I'm doing now.
Yep.
Or actually, no, I have, like, that's a short game. Like, this game's probably about 5 to 10 years. Long term wise, my game is to get into large property development. I'd do that as well. That's a real hard one. So I think I can get this game done that I'm playing now. I can get that done and dusted. It's just a matter of time. But getting into large property developments would be a hard one. So I'd choose that if I couldn't fail.
Awesome.
Yeah. But I think I've got this one covered. It's just going to take me a few years.
Yeah. When you have free time, what are your hobbies?
Oh, man. Well, man, one of my favorite things to do is go to the movies by myself. Does that sound like such a... Because my life's so busy in a good way that, sometimes I just like getting a bag of lollies and I go to the movies. I get a gold class ticket. I go by myself. I turn my phone off and I just really watch a movie. I just sink into it. Hey, and I get some treats and I just chill out. That's probably one of my favorite things to do. But other than that, my hobbies, like Sunday UFC is probably my favorite thing. Like getting Sunday UFC, I get some chicken wings and I just chill out. I put the fights on.
Yeah.
And I just watch the fights. That's it. And I go to the beach and shit. I don't know, but they change. Camping, love camping. Getting out. But yeah, that's kind of how I spend my time. And just meeting up with people that I enjoy being around. Yeah. Keeping my circle strong, going out and meeting people that I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
Definitely up there.
So what do you do for personal development? Obviously, I see you train every morning.
Yeah, physically, I train, at least once a day, most days twice. As far as like mentally and emotionally, I do a lot of breath work, meditation, just to keep my mind strong. And on an educational basis, it is, I try to educate myself at least 20 minutes a day per minimum. But now I've changed my schedule. So every Wednesday, which is today, I spend my day educating myself. So the first, like today was a little bit different, but I had to do some meetings and stuff today. But for the majority of the day, I was learning. I was educating myself. So I've always doing some kind of training or developing, like signing up for courses, etc., and just constantly rotating like 2 to 3 courses. And just keep learning, bro. That's how I do it. And I just bang those out on Wednesdays. That's my educational day. Education is so important to me, and it's one of my top priorities. So instead of spacing it out and doing it before or after work, it's one of those things where I just block out a whole day now, and it happens.
Yeah.
That's how I do it.
You mentioned breathwork before. How important is that to you?
Yeah, it's up there. It's top, hey. It's being in your own mind, and it's really important to stop and just be like with yourself, because that's when you get to get some clarity around your life. And it's just mindfulness, hey.
Yeah.
Exercising your mind daily is just a habit and a routine that everyone should do, and that just brings more happiness.
Is that just the Wim Hof method?
Oh man, I tried a lot of different ones. I love Wim Hof as well, but I dive into many different types. I easily get onto YouTube, and there's so many different breathworks. You can get lost in that, but no, I experiment with many as well. I experiment with many of them and see what fits for me and what doesn't fit for me. But yeah, definitely a really good tool to use as well.
Do you do the cold therapy?
Yep, I got a cold bath just outside my right here actually. I got a like a deep freezer.
Oh yeah, are they expensive to get?
Mine was on Gumtree, so it was $100.
Oh yeah, nice.
And yeah, I've had it for a while. I've had it for a couple of years now, and yeah, it's worked well for me. So I love it. I get in there. I got in there last night, and I don't know. I'll probably get in there tonight, maybe. See how keen I'm feeling. But yeah, usually after gym and stuff, I get in there. I love it.
What would you say has been your biggest struggle in life? Was it the whole drug scene, or?
Yeah, man, that was it. That was probably my biggest adversity to date. Just going through that whole bullshit, and then getting myself to where I am today. It's been a big turning point for myself. But yeah, man, that was definitely my biggest struggle for sure.
What's your why?
Man, my why. Like why I do what I do. I do what I like. My why in life. I'm here to serve, and empower men and women in our communities to do better. That's like the broad why.
Yeah.
To grow and develop younger kids around us as well. Yeah, like teaching our youth is important for me.
Is there someone you look up to, or a bunch of people that you look up to, or inspires you?
Yeah, man, I go through phases of like who I there's 2 people I like around organisation scheduling. It's Brendan Burchard. I like his habits and routines. And then actually, sorry, I'm looking at Jim Quick is another guy. Like,
oh yeah,
guys I look up to as far as like planning and scheduling and mindset. Obviously, I like Tony Robbins. I like Mike Tyson, bro. I like his story. He's got a really strong story. That's what I like.
Are you a Gary Vee kind of guy or not?
Yeah, I love Gary Vee, bro.
Yeah.
I was just about to say Gary Vee. I was like, fuck, why did I forget Gary Vee? Gary Vee. I like Grant Cardone as well. And there's this one I'm missing, man. I don't know. Oh, Jocko Willink.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, extreme leadership. I love his stuff, man. He's solid way he put things over. Yeah, those are some of my top ones.
Do you follow David Goggins?
Yeah, I do like Goggins. He's crazy, man.
Yeah, I like that guy too.
He's solid in the mind frame. Hey, he's got a lot of goals, and he's a very driven man.
Yeah,
I love him as well.
Gary Vee's my guy.
Yeah, I like Gary Vee. He's like a new age entrepreneur guy.
Yeah, he's the one who set me on the path I am now, because he came to Sydney last year to do an event, and I went to it, and it's like, fuck, all right, I need to make a change in my life, and that's what put me on the path I am now. So forever grateful for that guy.
Good shit, bro. Yeah, I went to that same event that he had in Brisbane.
Yeah.
That was last year as well. We did the tour. So yeah, him and Grant Cardone was there too. I'm pretty sure. There's another. I think if it was that same one.
Yeah. And was Kern Ray at that one? Do you know him?
Yeah, I know Kern Ray. I don't know if he was at that one. I might not have been. I might have been a different one.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
because
remember
I
going to
follow a lot
games.
of Kerwin as well.
Yeah, Cohen's out here in, down at Byron.
Yeah.
I had his wife on my podcast. She's she's into coaching as well. Really good lady as well. So
Okay.
solid. She knows her shit as well. So yeah, I had her on here as well. So yeah, he's really good, man. I love what he puts out there as well. His content's solid. I've been watching him a lot actually. Another one actually is Brad Lee. I really
Okay.
like Brad Lee. I just finished his course today actually. It's a course called Closer School. They teaches people on how to close deals. But yeah, that was the one I finished today, and I like his content.
So you do a lot of online courses?
Yeah, bro. As much as I can, man. As much as I can. I'm constantly like rotating and switching them out as much as I can. Like, I don't try to get too many at the same time, but like usually have one or two going at the same time, and then when one's finishing, I try to start another one. And just keep rotating them out and just keep learning, man. That's it.
It's all about investing in yourself, eh?
Yeah, bro. That's it. More money invested in yourself, the better. That's what it's about.
So last two questions. When your time's up in this earth, what would you like to be remembered for? And what's your definition of success?
What would I like to be remembered for? I'd be like to be remembered for the man that always showed up. No matter whether it was good, bad, or however it was, but I just showed up. Yeah. That's what we do. Showing up's important for me. And then what would I like to be remembered for? Oh, no, that wasn't the last one.
What's your definition of success?
Real smiles, man. Like, at the end of the day, like, you can be whoever you want to be, but if you're not internally happy and you don't have a real smile on your face day in, day out, man, you're not successful. I wake up with a smile on my face. There's been days where I don't have one, but days are far and few between. So it's in me, health is wealth.
Yeah.
Health is wealth. So exactly. I'm healthy. I'm wealthy. That's it. I don't put too much pressure on myself.
Yeah.
I'm happy. That's the main thing. The rest is just a game. I get to have fun, enjoy it. Whatever finance or whatever toys or whatever opportunities come my way, I'll seize them and take them on as I come. But man, we're blessed to be here now and enjoy it. So I get a smile on my face. So that's the main thing. The rest is just that's just perk.
Awesome, man. Well, that brings a wrap, man. It's been awesome chatting with you. Great episode. For all the listeners out there that want to find out more about yourself, where's the best place to follow you?
Yeah, definitely. If you could track me down at on Instagram is definitely the best place I hang out on. Instagram, you find me at Mr. Mr. Heka _HEKA. Yeah, just swing us a DM or whatever. I'm always on Instagram, scoping out, looking at things. So yeah, that's where you find me.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you for giving me your time and coming on. I really appreciate it.
No worries, brother. No, I appreciate you having me on. Thank you and much love.
Awesome, man. Cheers.